It's 1370's Friday Night Fanstand.
All right, howdy, Austin, and welcome to the Friday Night Fanstand Tailgate Edition. It's sponsored by Radiant Plumbing. I'm Snoop Daniel. That's Coach Derek Long. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm ready for another week of football.
All right, we'll talk about Week 9 here in just a second, but real quick, let's take a quick glimpse back at Week 8. Coaches, I don't know if you have any surprises or shocking moments. What kind of stood out to you from Week 8?
Probably the biggest surprise was how Hendrickson handled Rudder, and Rudder only had one loss going in that game, and Hendrickson, with a losing record at this point, put it on him pretty good and threw that district into a tailspin.
All right. My surprise win was probably Westwood over Georgetown. How Georgetown came back and won 55-51 over Pflugerville. I thought they really had things going. We've had Coach Dean on the show last week, but we'll have Coach Wood on the show this Friday. This Westwood Warriors really proved why they're one of the more sneakier opponents in that District 16 5A. All right, quickly, let's throw it to the Taco Shack scoreboard for a look at last week's scores. All right, Friday Night Fanstand Tailgate Party sponsored by Radiant Plumbing. Coach, let's go ahead and get into the Fanstand Big Ten. We compile our stats week to week, and we come up with a new Big Ten each week. Going into Week 9, here's our bottom 5. We have Vista Ridge at 10, 9 Hutto, number 8 Pflugerville Connolly, Brian Rudder dropping in at 7, and Bastrop moving up to number 6. Your thoughts?
Well, Vista Ridge at number 10, they've been playing some close football games, and even though they are winning the majority of them, they're not quite as sharp as they have been. Hutto playing well, but did lose to Pflugerville Connolly, who's right above them. Brian Rudder lost a big game to Hendrickson, and then we have Bastrop. So we have that 4A district with those teams, which very competitive district bunched in there together.
All right, Bastrop looking really strong. In fact, they'll play tonight, KBVO Game of the Week. Bastrop versus Elgin. Josiah Monroe gets another shot at home to impress the crowd. All right, that was the Fanstand Big Ten. Bottom 5, let's look at the top 5, Coach. Number 5, Bowie. They've looked really impressive as of late. Westlake, your old stomping grounds, comes in at 4. Number 3, Cedar Park, who had an open week last week. Stony Point, still at 2. And now we have Lake Travis, who has seemingly jumped up to the top in our Fanstand Big Ten. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Bowie won a real close match against Austin High last week, which puts them in an opportunity to maybe win a district championship. Westlake, Cedar Park, Stony Point, Lake Travis all playing very, very solid football. Haven't had close football games with their opponents lately, and I think that's a pretty good listing of them. Lake Travis, I just think that with Michael Brewer back, they are a notch above at this point.
Remember, their winning streak only got ended by Aledo earlier in the season, but they're looking to make that right and possibly a 4th state championship to be continued. Now, quickly, Coach, games of the week. This is by district, which includes playoff scenarios. I'm actually going to give you 5 total games. You'll have to pick 2 of them that you like to go to. All of these are dandies. Austin High at Del Valley. Maroons battling for the last playoff spot in district without their head coach. Connolly at Rudder. Rudder battling to lock up the top playoff spot. Connolly looking to rebound from his first loss of the season. Leander at Westwood, Coach, is another dandy. Battle between the likely Division II reps for the bracket position. Dripping Springs at Cedar Park. This is a basic must-win against a powerhouse for the Tigers. And Crockett at Lanier. Battle for the last playoff spot in 26 4A. LBJ, Travis, and McCallum most likely have made it in that division. 2 of those 5 games, Coach.
I think that probably the Austin-Del Valley game would be one I'd like to see. It's for that 4th playoff spot, and Austin High will be without their head coach, so it's a real pressure situation. Both teams will be full speed ahead, and the winner will more than likely wrap up that 4th playoff spot. The other game, I think, is Leander Westwood. Both those teams started off atrociously. Westwood started off 0-3, Leander started off 0-4. They've turned it around. They're both going to be in the playoffs, and I think that'd be an exciting game. And those are two teams that I think that are extremely proud right now, the way their players have reacted.
All right, speaking of Westwood, we'll have Coach Anthony Wood, apropos for the team. He'll actually be on the show coming this Friday. This is the Tailgate Show, sponsored by Radiant Plumbing. Let's take a look at playoff scenarios. Coach, we're getting into that time of the year. Basically 2 weeks left of regular season ball. Let's start to look at them division-wise, and let's start with 15-5A.
Things are getting pretty set here. 15-5A and 16-5A will be playing each other. Looking at Division I, it is appearing that Bowie and Westlake will be going against Stony Point and Georgetown. Not sure as far as who will be playing who, but those four teams seem to be the ones involved. We go to Division II, it's Leander and Westwood, and they'll be playing Anderson, and then the other spot will either be Austin High or Del Valley, depending on what happens the next couple of weeks.
All right, that's your 5A recap. Let's go to 4A. Let's start with 16-4A, one of the tougher districts, the surprise districts that we've seen this year.
16-4A is extremely tough, and it's Conley, Hutto, and Bastrop have clinched a playoff spot, but we really can't even put them into divisions yet, depending on what happens with Rudder, Maynard, Hendrickson. Hendrickson makes the playoffs, and that's going to throw people into Division II. So at this point, really all we can really say is that Hutto, Conley, and Bastrop are in, and that fourth spot is really going to change up which division they possibly go in.
All right, Coach, let's talk 25-4A and 26-4A. 25-4A, of course, featuring two of the state's premier 4A football teams in Cedar Park and Lake Travis. LBJ and McCallum doing damage. They had a bloodbath last week, and this week they are trying to improve in that district and trying to take it over. What are the playoff implications in 26-4A and 25-4A?
Well, at this point, Division I, it looks like Lake Travis and Cedar Park will both be Division I, and they will be playing LBJ and McCallum. Still not real sure how that will fall out as far as who's the winner, who's the runner-up. Division II, we have Vista Ridge and Marble Falls, or possibly Dripping Springs, and they'll be playing Travis, and then the winner of Lanier and Crockett, and that'll be Division II with those schools.
All right, wrapping this up, Coach, other districts, 27-4A, the playoff race set. Smithson Valley and Hayes will rip Division I. Alamo Heights and New Brownsville Canyon will represent Division II. By-district matchups are against 28-4A. That includes Kerrville, Tybee, and Bernie Champion. All right, Coach, final thoughts before we get to our guest, live look-ins, and how to contact the show about Week 9. What are you most excited to see?
Just getting some of the playoff implications resolved. And again, this is such an important part of the season. You have your non-district, and those games you like to win, but as Leander and Westwood can attest to, these district games are what are critical. And so seeing how this plays on out, which teams are going to be in the playoffs for sure, whether they go Division I or Division II, that's what I'm excited about seeing this week.
This is the Friday Night Fanstand Tailgate Party, sponsored by Radiant Plumbing. You can also visit our Facebook, sponsored by the Taco Shack. You can check out divisions, points scored, enrollment. It's really great. You got to check it out. Facebook, username Friday Night Fanstand. Also, get in touch with us via Twitter. If you're at the game, you can get the scores via tweet at Friday Fanstand. Some of the guest coaches that we're having this week, Matthew Golston and Caleb Gardner, two outstanding linebackers / captains for the Bowie Bulldogs. Also, Westwood's Anthony Wood, St. Michael's Coach McCabe, and Anderson's Mark Ryland. Live look-ins from KMAC, KDRP, and Legacy Networks. We have you covered with just about every game in Central Texas, Coach. And we only got 2 more weeks of the regular season. It's been a blast so far.
It has been a blast, and I'm ready for some of those Taco Shack tacos for our tailgate here.